Oh my, just seems like absolutely everything and anything is happening to the Calgary Flames in the 2019-20 NHL season here. This is their 40th season after all, being in Calgary. However, just definitely didn't expect any of these events to happen throughout the season, but in this particular case, it was definitely more what's been going on in the world recently here. Anyway, stay tuned for another episode of Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel here, and yeah, this is a unique, different episode for game recap here, as we're definitely a little out of order here, as we've got a special, unexpected, unusual 4-game recap of my Calgary Flames in 4 year. So we are in Season 2, Episode 13 in my game recaps here, as we'll be talking about games 67 to 70 here in the 2019-20 NHL regular season here. And actually, the last couple of videos that I've posted were definitely unexpected here, as definitely with recent events here, with the ongoing outbreak here, that it definitely started off with the player in the NBA testing positive for this virus that's going around. I'm purposely not saying the name to the algorithms and that, but NHL and various other major leagues definitely have followed suit here in pressing pause on their respective seasons there. And also, at that same time, we got to say rest in peace to Ken King here, the former president of the Calgary Flames, and he was the man behind the Calgary Flames and building up the Calgary Sports and Entertainment Group, which definitely I'm a fan of all the teams here in Calgary, and I recap and tell stories about that. So you can see those videos here talking about my feelings on all major sports being postponed or pressed pause on. They're not canceled yet. And my thank you video to Ken King and his contributions. But I also share my experiences where I have seen him live in person over the years there before sadly his passing there. So rest in peace to Ken King there. But despite all this, I still plan to do a game recap schedule when I map out all my episodes here. So I'm still doing this on the day that I was planning on doing it, but not under these circumstances here, as this is a 4-game episode where we're going to talk about games 6, 7, 7 here. So before I get into the games here, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow along. With that bell icon there, what you need to do. I mostly do Calgary sports, all teams in the Calgary Sport and Entertainment Group there. But I also do personal blogs and attempt at comedy, and I also share my experiences. Let's say I'm at a sporting event, we're on a road here. Do follow along with this Calgary sports fan journey. I also have my other social media links down in the description below there, where you can also follow me and get any updates on what I plan to do on my channel here. And given recent events here, there's still going to be content here, as I've actually been able to backlog some other content. And as well, I did also recently announce there'll be some other sports content where I'll be doing more Calgary Flames trade retrospects here. The teaser on a couple trade retrospects that I will plan to do here this upcoming month is there'll be a time where I'll recap time where we traded away an enforcer for some draft picks. It definitely helped the team that received our said enforcer and draft picks here. But I'm also going to do a trade retrospect on Jerome McGinley and Jay Bomeister. And Jerome McGinley is so special, he needs 2 trade retrospects. Because one, there was a trade that actually happened, and then there was a trade that was reported to happen but didn't happen. And I'll talk about the aftermath for that team, that it probably benefited that team to not make that trade and sign in free agency there. So that's what I have planned to do. Still, there is still going to be content, and this game recap definitely is unexpected on the turn events here, but hopefully things will get better, and we'll get back at it, and we'll still hopefully make the playoffs. And so hopefully, worst case scenario, I'll still have 4 more episodes to make in season 2 here, where hopefully there'll be 2 more game recaps. Then hopefully we make the playoffs. So I'll have a preview of the first round and a recap. Do that times 4 to win the Stanley Cup. May I dare dream here. So anyway, let's get to recapping the games here. As you recall here in the last episode, the Calgary Flames were still on their 5-game road trip here to wrap up February here. So now we're entering into March here. So this is on game 67. This happened on Sunday, March the 1st here. The Calgary Flames were taking on the Florida Panthers at the BB&T Center, 2 p.m. puck drop here. So some more afternoon delight here to wrap up the 5-game road trip here. And it's the last game on the road trip, and hopefully end it on a high note here, as Calgary definitely had some tougher teams to play on this road trip here, and they definitely were looking to rebound after being dominated against the Tampa Bay Lightning the afternoon before here. So, and also let's mention that this is a chance to take advantage of the Florida Panthers, as they have been struggling at home and struggling to score goals in recent times. Definitely bad timing on their part on trying to get into the playoff race in the Atlantic Division here. So, with this being an afternoon game, I'm going to say first period both teams looked evenly matched. Sometimes you get weird things or nothing out of the ordinary on some afternoon games here. So after that, Calgary did actually open up the scoring in the first period, as Johnny Gaudreau scored his 17th of the goal just before the 6.5 minute mark to make 1-0 at this point. So, and then Johnny Gaudreau was involved in another play here later in the first period, as he was stopping Mackenzie Weegar on a breakaway, but Mackenzie Weegar was awarded a penalty shot at the 12:17 mark of the first period there. However, Mackenzie Weegar was stopped on that penalty shot goal by Cam Talbot, who had to start in net there on a back-to-back scenario on the road there. And one question that we can ask in this episode here is there a goaltending controversy brewing in Calgary? As Cam Talbot definitely has looking like the better goalie, has gotten more starts over Dave Riddick, and he has that nickname Big Save Dave, but lately he's been looking like Average Save Dave. No respect for him, but that's what it is right now, and we're in the thick of a playoff race here. So getting back into the game at hand here, there was no more scoring in the first period here, so Calgary had a 1-0 lead after the first here. Second period, Florida did have the best period overall, as they outplayed the Calgary Flames in the middle frame here. However, Calgary did add to their lead, as Milan Lucic got his 7th of the season, past the 3-minute mark, so Calgary had a 2-0 lead at this point here. There was nothing much else to report in the second period, so Calgary maintained their 2-0 lead after the second period here. Third period play did even out on both sides here, after Florida had the upper advantage in play in the second period here. However, Calgary got another early goal on this game here, as it was TJ Brodie just past the opening minute here, and TJ Brodie has definitely had a big stretch of games here in my recap here. So it was 3-0 at this point, and just like the second period, there wasn't much else to report here. So Calgary was able to finish off the road trip with a 3-0 win against the Florida Panthers, and Cal Talbot picked up his second shutout of the season here. I'm going to say, goaltending controversy here? Who knows? Because we'll see. We've been seeing a lot more Cam Talbot than David Riddick here recently as we go down the stretch here. Florida also shot Calgary 38-28 overall here, including that 16-6 second period there. Calgary was led by Johnny Gaudreau. He had a goal and assist there. And Mark Giordano chipped in with 3 assists, so he was a part in all 3 goals for the Calgary Flames. I said Cam Talbot, he made 38 saves in the shutout for Calgary. Well, that was Sam Montembeault. He's definitely been picking up his play and been getting a few more starts in favor of Sergei Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers. He made 25 saves for Florida there. So overall, Calgary went 3-1-1 on this road trip here. And if they weren't able to hang on for that 1/10 of a second, as I was moaning about in the last episode there, they would have had an even better road trip here. So definitely was a strong road trip overall, given the competition and the intensity of the playoff races here. So that was game 67 here. So game 68, this happened on Wednesday, March the 4th here. The Calgary Flames were taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets at the Scotiabank Stadium, 6:30 puck drop here. Calgary's back home from road trip for a 5-game homestand here. Those air quotes were intentional here, as you know what's been going on here. And I'll get to that shortly when I'm done recapping the games here. So hopefully, also the fact that now the Calgary Flames are at home here, hopefully they can pick up their play at home here, as Calgary definitely hasn't been as strong at home as they've been on the road this season, and we definitely would like to get that sea of red advantage again that we used to have, where teams actually were afraid of the sea of red, because that's what you work hard for in the playoffs, is to get that home ice advantage, and maybe this will pick up their play eventually here. However, typically a team that's coming back from a longer road trip here started off a little slow, and that was definitely the case for the Calgary Flames here in the first period. Columbus did actually open up the scoring in the first period. First, it was Devon Shore just before the 9.5 minute mark, so it was 1-0 for Columbus at this point here. And then it was Gustav Nyquist for the Columbus Blue Jackets who makes it 2-0 here just 2.5 minutes later. So now Columbus had a 2-0 lead at the 11.5 minute mark of the first period here. Nothing else to report, so Columbus takes a 2-0 lead going into the first intermission here. Second period, Calgary did pick up their play and press back here, despite Calgary bouncing back and outshooting the Columbus Blue Jackets 13-6 in the second period here. It was still 2-0 for Columbus, as there was no scoring to report in the second period here. Third period, the Calgary Flames keep outplaying the Columbus Blue Jackets. However, it was Jonas Korpisalo, goalie who has been doing admirably to replace said Sergei Bobrovsky, who went to Florida in free agency, has been standing tall for Columbus all season and including this game here. However, Calgary was able to get their first goal here as Elias Lindholm got his 29th of the season here past the 11-minute mark of the third period here. So now it's a 2-1 game for Columbus at this point here. Then at the 18-minute mark, I like to call him Mr. Clutch here, Matthew Tkachuk ties up the game at 2-2 on his 22nd goal of the season. So now it was 2-2 late here, and it stayed 2-2 after the third period. So as I like to say, this one needed overtime. In the 3-3 overtime here, Calgary did have more chances than Columbus overall. It was with 11 seconds to go in the 5-minute 3-3 overtime period that it was TJ Brodie that scores the winner, and Calgary comes from behind and beats the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-2 here. As Columbus is also in the thick of a playoff race, and they've definitely been playing well despite being decimated in free agency and having to deal with injuries all season here. Calgary did outshoot Columbus overall 37-22, including 6-3 in overtime here. Calgary was led by all the goal scorers. No one had a multi-point game for the Calgary Flames, and same with on the Columbus side of the puck here. So it was Cam Talbot who made his second straight start. He made 20 saves for Calgary, while Jonas Korpisalo made 34 saves for Columbus there. So that was game 68 here. And the one thing that was intriguing on this homestand here is we definitely had some big divisional games here to either catch up or separate ourselves from. So game 69, this happened on Friday, March the 6th here, as the Calgary Flames were taking on the Arizona Coyotes. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Stadium, next game on the homestand, and a big divisional opponent in the playoff race here. When was the last time that you could say a Flames-Coyotes game was big? It's definitely been a long time, or maybe first time ever, that we had a big game against the Arizona Coyotes. And with Arizona recently struggling here, this was definitely an opportunity for Calgary to separate themselves away from the playoff line and get closer to first place and separate themselves away from the Arizona Coyotes here. However, like many games before, this seems to be a trend that the Calgary Flames definitely need to clean up here whenever we get back to playing again, and also the fact that if we want to be in the playoffs, we definitely do not want to be doing this too often, because we definitely paid for that in the Anaheim series back in 2017 here, where we always like to allow the opening goal on the first shot early. And that, I believe, was the 11th time that happened to the Calgary Flames this season, where a Calgary Flame goalie allows a goal on the first shot, the red light shine behind them. Well, it was Taylor Hall for Arizona that scores just past the opening minute mark. So Arizona took an early 1-0 lead in the first period here on the first shot of the game for Arizona. However, Johnny Gaudreau does strike back on the power play just before the 6-minute mark to tie up the game, and that was his 18th of the season then. And then TJ Brodie, who got his second game his his third straight game, 41 seconds later after the Johnny Gaudreau goal. So now Calgary had a 2-1 lead past the 6.5-minute mark of the first period there. So despite after allowing the first goal and the first shot here, Calgary did actually outplay Arizona. So it was if you excuse that, it was a great first period for the Calgary Flames. Second period, Arizona definitely did push back hard looking for the equalizer. However, first it was Michael Backlund, who has definitely had his strong recently, scored his 16th of the season, past the 4-minute mark to make it 3-1 for Calgary at this point. However, then just past the 11-minute mark, Arizona did get back within one, as it was Carl Soderberg who scores for Arizona to make it a 3-2 game for Calgary at this point here. There was nothing else to report in the second period, so Calgary still led with a goal, but 3-2 this time. Going into the third period, and highlight here that in the first period, the Calgary Flames outshot the Arizona Coyotes 15-8. However, in the second period, it was the Arizona Coyotes that outshot the Calgary Flames 21-12 there. So a tale of two periods here. Third period, both sides were evenly played after Calgary saying had the better play in the first period and then Arizona in the second period there. And actually there was no scoring to report in the third period here. So ultimately the Calgary Flames held on to win this one 3-2 to gain some traction in the playoff and divisional race and separate themselves away from the Arizona Coyotes here. Shots, they were even at 34 apiece there. So, like I said, definitely everything evened out that way in the third period there. Calgary was led the way by Matthew Tkachuk, who had 3 assists there, so he was a part in all 3 goals here. And then, of course, the other goal scorers for Calgary. Arizona was led by Terry Hall. He had a goal and assist there, so he was a part in both goals for Arizona there. Then it was Cam Talbot, who made 32 saves in his third straight start for Calgary. Well, it was Darcy Kemper, who's just been getting back from injury. He's been playing strong for Arizona this season. He made 31 saves for the Arizona Coyotes here. So that was game 69. So now game 70. This was on Sunday, March the 8th here. Another big divisional game in the playoff race here to maybe get closer to being in first place here, as recently the Vegas Golden Knights have been picking up their play, and they seem to definitely been picking up their play after that surprisingly firing of Gerard Gallant and bringing in Peter DeBoer as head coach, as they are leading the Pacific Division right now, and the Calgary Flames were taking on the Vegas Golden Knights at the Scotiabank Cell, and it'll be a 5 p.m. puck drop here. Also, we can maybe vouch this to be a potential playoff preview. It'll definitely be an interesting series if we happen to draw the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round, or maybe in the second round if we get there, depending on whenever it's going to happen here. And also, they'll mention here that day, Sunday, March the 8th, it was International Women's Day. So we had an all-female broadcast on Sportsnet for this game, so it was definitely a different flavor to that game there. First period, both teams looked evenly matched, but eventually Vegas did pull out and showed that they were the better team later in the first period here. First, Vegas opens up the scoring by Thomas Nosek just past the 5.5-minute mark for a 1-0 lead for the Vegas Golden Knights. At least it wasn't on the first shot here. Then Vegas added to their lead to make it 2-0 as Nick Holden just before the 12-minute mark. So Vegas had a 2-0 lead at this point in the first period here. Then Michael Backlund. It looked like Michael Backlund got Calgary within one here to make it a 2-1 game just before the 16-minute mark. However, after when Michael Backlund was celebrating what looked to be a goal there, Vegas did challenge it for goaltender interference, and they did win that challenge. As it did look like, I saw the replay, that Michael Backlund did skate into the Vegas Golden Knight goalie Rob Leonard, who was definitely a nice pickup for them at the trade deadline to get someone more competent behind Marc-Andre Fleury, so he's not playing 80% of the games here. It looked like Michael Backlund did bump into Rob Leonard, and then Michael Backlund picked up the rebound and scored on it. But that goal wiped that out. As a rule, there was goaltender interference there. So it still was 2-0 for Vegas, and Vegas had a 2-0 lead after the first period there. Then going into the second period, Vegas continued their strong play, looking for like a first place team in the Pacific Division here and potential Stanley Cup contenders. Not bad for a third season in their team in their third season in the NHL here. But Vegas did continue on their lead here, as it was Max Pacioretty who makes it 3-0. Vegas just past the 3.5-minute mark. So Vegas had a 3-0 lead early in the second period here. However, just before the 8.5-minute mark, or 5 minutes later in the game, depending on how you look at it here, it was Milan Lucic who actually got his 8th goal of the season here On a 2-on-1 with Dylan Dubé there, and Milan Lucic was able to squeeze the puck right through the 5-hole between the pads on Robin Leonard there somehow to make it a 3-1 game for Vegas at that point here. Then just before the 16.5-minute mark, this time was Dylan Dubé who scores his sixth to make it a 3-2 game for Vegas. And Calgary got themselves back into it here and was able to hang a little with Vegas, but Vegas still had a 3-2 lead after the second period. Third period, Vegas did continue outplaying Calgary, but Calgary was to hang on and maintain the 3-2 game here for Vegas. Then Matthew Tkachuk got his 23rd to tie it up exactly at the 17-minute mark late in the third period here to make it a 3-3 game here. There was hope that this one needed overtime here. However, ultimately the Vegas Golden Knights had other plans here. And it was Shea Theodore. He scored a dagger just in the final minute with 70 seconds left in the third period to make a 4-3 the game here. And it was, a very sharp angle. It was a very sharp angle that Shea Theodore scored. And I think, unfortunately, it bounced off Andrew Mangiapane and went into the Calgary net there. So Vegas made this one 4-3 here. And then ultimately, Jonathan Marchessault puts it away in the empty net with 18 seconds to go in the third period here. So after despite Calgary trying to clean back here, unfortunately lost a tough one 5-3, and it extended the lead for the Vegas Golden Knights in the Pacific Division here. Vegas also outshot the Calgary Flames 33-22 in this one. Calgary was led by Milan Lucic, who had a goal and assist. Calgary, and that was the only multiple game for Calgary. Vegas was led by Nick Holden. He had a goal and assist, and William Karlsson with 2 assists there. And then it was David Riddick who was in net for Calgary. He made 27 saves, while it was Robin Leonard who made 19 saves for the Vegas Golden Knights there. And then that was the last game on this game recap here, because given recent events here, the NHL decided to suspend play with recent events and the outbreak that's been going on here after the NBA started it, because there was a player that tested positive there, and the NBA season's been suspended, and all the major leagues have suspended play here. So what I'm going to do next here is I'm just going to look at player stats and team stats and look at the standings here. Where do we stand after 70 games here? And we'll also look at the 12 games that are still left on the schedule here, and we don't know what's going to happen, if we're going to get those 12 games in, and what are we going to do for playoffs here if we're able to get back at it here. So be interesting to see. I just can't tell you right now when the next episode will be for Calgary Flames, and hopefully it's not a post-mortem end of season, especially under the circumstances here. So when it comes to player stats here, just go over some quick player stats here. As the leading goal scorers right now for the Calgary Flames as of the season postponed, where you press the pause button here, it was Elias Lindholm. He has 29 goals, leading the way. Next is Matthew Tkachuk with 23 goals, and then Sean Monahan has 22 goals. Johnny Gaudreau has 18 goals, and Andrew Mangiapane runs at the top 5 with 17, and then we'll throw in Michael Backlund. He's just behind with 16 goals here. So those are your goal scoring leaders. Assist here, well, Johnny Gaudreau leads the way with 40 assists here, followed by Matthew Tkachuk with 38, Michael Backlund second with 29. Sean Monahan and Mark Giordano both tied for fourth with 26. And then Elias Lindholm is just behind with 25 there, just outside the top 5. Then when it comes to the points leaders for the Calgary Flames, well, Matthew Tkachuk leads the way in points, so he's leading the team in scoring as when the pause button was pressed with 61 points. Johnny Gaudreau is second, well behind from his pace from last season. He has 58 points. Elias Lindholm 54, Sean Monahan 48, Michael Backlund has 45 here. And then we'll just throw in Andrew Mangiapane 6th with 32, Mark Giordano 7th on the team with 31 points, and then Derek Ryan has 29 points as well, in the top 8 there. So those are the point getters for the Calgary Flames as of now here. And then when it comes to the goaltending here, we'll talk about the Flames goaltending here, which is where you got to wonder, do we have a goaltending controversy here right now here? Because Cam Talbot, right now, he has played in 26 games for the Calgary Flames. He has 12-10-1 here, wins, losses, and ties, overtime losses, I should say, with a .263 goals against average and a .919 save percentage here. So Definitely strong numbers here for a goalie that was brought in, supposedly back up Dave Reddick here. But definitely has been a nice other option. Well, Dave Reddick, he's played in 48 games. He's 24, 17, and 6 with a 297 goals against average and a 907 save percentage here. So we're both goalies are above the 900 save percentage and goals against average just under 3 there. But can't tell, but definitely is looking like the better goalie right now. And Shell sat in, each goalie has 2 shutouts on the season here. So when it comes to the team stats here, as the pause button was pressed here, well, the Edmonton Oilers actually lead the way in power play with a 29.5% power play percentage, but when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, that helps. Calgary Flames actually ranked 12th with a 21.2% power play efficiency here. So we're at least in the top half there. And then when it comes to penalty kill, actually the San Jose Sharks lead the way with an 85.7% efficiency on the penalty kill. And the Calgary Flames are actually tied for 8th with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks at 82.1%. So we're in the top half when it comes to the special teams here. And then when shots per game here, the Philadelphia Flyers lead the way by allowing a few shots at 28.7 here. However, the Flames definitely need to work on that as they're tied with the Arizona Coyotes for 23rd in the league with 32.4 shots allowed per game there. And then when it comes to face-off win percentage here, the Philadelphia Flyers lead the way in that as well with the 54.6 percentage here, and the Calgary Flames are 21st in the league, tied with the Arizona Coyotes coincidentally in this category with a 49.1% percentage there. So there's a couple things that we can work on whenever teams are allowed to mingle again, but just given the situation here, there's lots of uncertainty right now here. So let's take a look at the standings here to still lament on where everybody's at and maybe lament on first round matchups here. And we definitely have some intriguing first round matchups here that everyone would get excited for. So first in the Eastern Conference here, the Boston Bruins are leading the way in the Atlantic Division and in the President's Trophy race for the top team overall in the NHL. They have 100 points in 70 games here, and then second place is the Tampa Bay Lightning for 92 points in 70 games. Around the top 3 in the Atlantic here is the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have 81 points in 70 games here, so that's your Atlantic Division there. Top 3 in the Metropolitan here, and the Washington Capitals have 90 points in 69 games. Then the Philadelphia Flyers have 89 points in 69 games, just a point behind. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have 86 points in 69 games. So that's the top 3 in the Metropolitan here. Now when it comes to the wild card here, the first wild card is the Carolina Hurricanes. They have 81 points in 68 games. And then the second wild card, the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference here, is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They have 81 points in 70 games here. Teams outside looking in, I think, may have a chance here. The New York Islanders have 80 points in 68 games. New York Rangers, they certainly have been picking up their play. They have 79 points in 70 games. And the Florida Panthers have 78 points in 69 games. That's where I think I cut the line on where you still legitimately have a chance here, as the Montreal Canadiens have 71 points in 71 games. And then Buffalo has 68 points in 69 games. Jersey, 68 points in 69 games. Ottawa, 62 points in 71 games. And the Detroit Red Wings, 39 points in 71 games. So I cut the line off where Florida is up. I think you still have a chance in the Eastern Conference here. So when it comes to potential first round matchups here, with the Boston Bruins having the top seed, they would be hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets in the first round there. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning would be hosting the Toronto Maple Leafs. That would be the Atlantic side of the bracket there. And then the Metropolitan, you would have Washington play Carolina again in the first round for the second straight season there. That would definitely be an interesting series. And you'd have a battle of Pennsylvania, as you would have the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins there. So I'm going to say those would definitely be intriguing matchups for the Metropolitan side. And I think for the sake for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think they would be better off taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. And moaning, and you're going to hear Maple Leaf Nation moaning that if they have to take the Boston Bruins again. But I think Boston has solidified themselves in the Atlantic there. So that's the Eastern Conference. So let's shift our focus out to the West here. Let's start off with the Pacific Division here, as the Vegas Golden Knights are in first place. They have 86 points in 71 games. Second place is the Edmonton Oilers. They have 83 points in 71 games. And then the Calgary Flames, after 70 games here, They have 37 wins, 27 losses, and 7 overtime shootout points there. So they have 79 points in 70 games there. So that's the top 3 in the Pacific here. And then when you go out to the Central here, the St. Louis Blues lead the way in the Western Conference and the Central Division. They have 94 points in 71 games. And then you got the Colorado Avalanche second, just behind with 92 points in 70 games. And you have the Dallas Stars running at the top 3 with 82 points in 69 games here. Wild cards here. The first wild card goes to the Winnipeg Jets. They have 80 points in 71 games. Then the Nashville Predators are in the final wild card spot and the final playoff spot for the Western Conference. They have 78 points in 69 games here. Teams that still have a chance, I think. Well, the Vancouver Canucks, they have 78 points in 69 games. They're the first team outside looking in. Then you got the Minnesota Wild. They've been picking up their play recently. They have 77 points in 69 games. Then you got the Arizona Coyotes are definitely falling behind. They have 74 points in 70 games there. And then I'm going to maybe say cut the line off there because Chicago, I think, is starting to get too far back as they have 72 points in 70 games. And then the 3 California teams are definitely done as Anaheim has 67 points in 71 games. Los Angeles Kings, they've been picking up their play, but too little too late for them. They have 64 points in 70 games. And the San Jose Sharks are on the bottom of the Western Conference. They have 63 points in 70 games here. So potential first round matchups in the Western Conference as the pause button has been pressed here. Well, the St. Louis Blues having the top seed here. They will be hosting the Nashville Predators. That actually would be an interesting series. St. Louis Blues, Fan Cup champions, Nashville Predators. I could see that being an interesting rough series. And then you have the Colorado Avalanche hosting the Dallas Stars here. So that could be another interesting throwback matchup as well here. And then that's the Central bracket. The Pacific bracket here, you would have the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Winnipeg Jets here. That would be a rematch of the 2018 Western Conference Championship there, where the Vegas Golden Knights made their first trip to the Stanley Cup final there, so you can have that. And then I'm definitely looking forward to this potential matchup. You would have the Edmonton Oilers hosting the Calgary Flames. A battle of Alberta. A battle of Pennsylvania out east and a battle of Alberta in the west there. Oh, please, make it happen. Somehow, it's been 29 years, and I would really, really, really love a Calgary-Edmonton first-round matchup here. There'll be tons of storylines here. I mean, with all the player movements, especially this past off season, and then those last couple games were interesting there. It'd be a lot of Matthew Tkachuk, Zach Kassian, Cam Talbot, Mike Smith fight. Oh man, but everything's on hold right now, and we know why. But hopefully things will get back at it here soon here. So let's take a look ahead on what was still remaining on the schedule here, as this was definitely, as I mentioned, I did plan this episode regardless with being recorded today, but I was expecting to recap 6 games instead of 4, but that's why we had to use that other intro here. So we still have 12 games left on the schedule here, and they're all been postponed here. What games could have still been left here? Well, we definitely had some intriguing matchups here after going over the standings here. Game 71, it would have been on Thursday, March 12th here. The Calgary Flames would have been taking on the New York Islanders at the Scotiabank Saddledome, 7 p.m. puck drop here, and I understand that was Ryan McDonald bobblehead night there. So that's definitely been pushed off. And the New York Islanders, there's one team that definitely was slipping, so hopefully that was an advantage that we can take advantage of. Then Game 72 would have been on Saturday, March the 14th here. The Calgary Flames would have been taking on the Winnipeg Jets at home to wrap up that homestand. That would have been an 8 p.m. puck drop at Scotiabank Saddledome. On Hockey Night in Canada here, definitely would have been a big conference matchup there because Winnipeg and Calgary are trying to keep pace, and Winnipeg is looking behind. Calgary, not so as much, but we're still close to the playoff line and being in first place there. And then Calgary would have went on the road here. So Game 73 would have been on Monday, March 16th. The Calgary Flames would have been taking on the New York Rangers, who have been surging recently, at Madison Square Garden. That'll be in a 5 p.m. puck drop there. And that's one place that I would love to go watch a hockey game at Madison Square Garden. That's definitely one arena I would love to go to. It's a famous, iconic building there. So that's where the Flames would be. And then Game 74 would have been on the next night, on Tuesday, March the 17th, on St. Patrick's Day. The Calgary Flames would have been taking on the New York Islanders again. That would have been at the Barclays Center at a 5 p.m. puck drop here. My understanding is after the season, the New York Islanders would be at the Nassau Coliseum full time until that new arena gets built. So that was Game 74. Game 75, the Calgary Flames would still be in New York there, in the New York, New Jersey area. As on Thursday, March the 19th, the Calgary Flames would be taking on the New Jersey Devils at the Prudential Center there. And then Game 76, the Calgary Flames would have been back home. On Saturday, March 27th, we would be taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning at home at the Scotiabank Saddledome there. We definitely have some history with the Tampa Bay Lightning there. That would have been on Hockey Night in Canada there. And then the final 6 games that were still on the schedule here definitely were some more intriguing matchups here. Game 77 would have been on Monday, March the 23rd, as the Calgary Flames would be at home taking on the San Jose Sharks at a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome. One team to take advantage of that they're done for the season. And then Game 78 on Wednesday, March 25th, the Calgary Flames would have been taking on the Anaheim Ducks for some more duck hunt here at Scotiabank Saddledome, 7:30 p.m. puck drop here. Another team to take advantage of that they're all but done. And then Game 79 on Friday, March the 27th here, the Calgary Flames would go to Vancouver to take on the Vancouver Canucks at the Rogers Arena, 8 p.m. puck drop here. That could have been an interesting game, as it's always interesting with Calgary and Vancouver here, and especially who knows where we would be at or where teams would be at in the standings here. Maybe you could also say maybe a potential playoff preview, or could either side or both sides be fighting for their playoff lives here? So that was Game 79. And then Game 80, Calgary actually had the last 3 games at home here. On Wednesday, March 31st, the Calgary Flames would have been taking on the Winnipeg Jets. That would have been a 7 p.m. puck drop at Scotiabank Saddledome, another big, conference matchup game that both teams are jockeying for position here, or maybe playing for playoff lives, depending on where things would have been. And then Game 81 would have been on Thursday, April the 2nd here. The Calgary Flames would have been taking on the Vegas Golden Knights at the Scotiabank Saddledome, 7 p.m. puck drop here. Who knows if there was still hope to maybe potentially catch them in the standings, because I think Vegas looks like the best team in the Pacific right now. And then Game 82 would have been that anticipated game. On Saturday, April 4th, we would have been taking on the Edmonton Oilers, the last game of the regular season here. 8 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here, and who the heck knows what could have been on the line there last game of the season there, or who knows, maybe both teams know their fate and approach it differently, or whether both teams know that we're going to be playing each other the next couple weeks after this game. And it's always interesting, and all the emotions that we're still boiling over, from the Zach Cassian, Matthew Tkachuk, and Mike Smith, and Cam Talbot fighting, the Neil Lucic battle. I think, as I know as of this recording, I still want Milan Lucic to, slow down the scoring a little, but I want James Neal to get one more goal here, because I still would like to get that 3rd round draft pick, which now is going to be in play in the draft there, because if you look back on my trade deadline video where I recap the trades that happened, that pick is going to stay here, go to Chicago, or maybe stay depending on how it plays out. So that's what was on schedule, but we pressed the pause button here. But just want to close up that definitely was unexpected to make this game recap in this matter here, but there's definitely still some content still to come here, as I say, I still got some trade retrospects to do, and I definitely still have plenty of content that I've made or been making to backlog it, because my new strategy on trying to grow on this platform is to make videos and then have them backlogged, and then start releasing videos throughout the week here, instead of making them all on the weekend and throwing them all up at the same time here, because most of my batching I do on the weekend, or if it's time sensitive, I try to do it as soon as possible. Let's say, for example, when all the Major League Sports announced they were pausing action due to the situation that's going on here, I can understand, but I'm definitely had mixed emotions on that. And then suddenly with that sudden passing with Ken King there, and I just still want to say thank you to Ken King for everything that he's done for Calgary and Calgary sports and the Calgary business, and may he rest in peace, and lots of prayers to family and friends and everyone who knew him more closely here, but most Calgarians knew him given his public figure, and I personally got a couple experiences that I shared in that video where I got to see him in person, and one time I actually got to shake his hand and chat with him a bit. So you can see that video as well there if you are interested. But as I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders here. I mostly do stories and game recaps here, which definitely just unexpected twists and turns with, especially this season, ranging from, not living up to what we did last season. And then remember there was that situation with Bill Peters, the head coach, and then, TJ Brody having that collapse on the ice, and then this outbreak where all major sports have been shut down here, and it's just too much uncertainty going on right now. Well, hopefully things will get better soon, and we'll get back to playing hockey here, and hopefully we'll get all the games in, get to recap all those games, and hopefully make the playoffs and make a run, and I could dare dream and win the Stanley Cup, as Stanley still needs to get hoisted. But there was another outbreak that happened in 1919 where Stanley did not get hoisted, unfortunately, there, and hopefully things aren't as bad as that. But there's definitely still going to be content on this channel here, as that's why I try to do it diverse. I have my main niche, but I have other niches I do too, and I enjoy doing this. And thanks for all you guys that watch and comment there. And I also do have some other ideas that I get from comments or people that follow me in my other social media there. My personal vlogs, attempt to comedy and share my experiences on the road, or when I'm at a sporting event or at a holiday, whenever sporting events again there. Do follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, and I also do have my social media links in the description below there. So yeah, it's all I can say about this game recap here. It was definitely a unexpected, unusual 4-game edition here for season 2, episode 13 here, because when I map out my episodes here and I make the math work with an 82-game schedule, and I mostly do 6 games. I called it that way, inspired by making a playoff prediction. My team in 6, my team in 4 is what I like to put at the end there, and that's what I do for Calgary Hitmen to make it work in my Hitmen recaps there too. And there's no new games for the recap there, so that series is also on pause as well there. And same with our lacrosse team, but at least I'll have one game to talk about when I do my Calgary Roughnecks recap in March here. But everything is on pause right now when it comes to live sports. But hopefully things will get better and we'll get back at it. And I am willing to wait a few extra weeks if that's what it needs to take. And I still would like to have all season played and Stanley to be awarded here. But who knows? Well, whenever it develops, I'll make a video and talk about it, give my thoughts and take on it. But hopefully, this could also be an opportunity, because a couple of injuries that the Calgary Flames still have is Noah Hannafin got hurt in that Vegas game, and then Travis Hamonic was still injured there, and was apparently getting closer to making the men here. So and with the extra defensemen that were required, and Derek Forbert and Eric Gustafsson here, this definitely could be an advantage for a lot of teams here. And some teams that have been battling injuries here should be fresher for the playoffs here. And if things get shifted a bit, it might make the freeze and frenzy in the draft maybe even more interesting. Would have less time to make moves there, almost like people panicking, going to the stores and stocking up on supplies here. But that's for a different thing. But there's definitely always going to be content for me to pump out here, and I've made a long list of videos to make, and I always have something that inspires me to make a video about for Calgary sports and everything else there. So don't worry, there's still going to be content. It's just a matter of me having time to do it, and still going to try to have some normalcy in my life. But I'm just playing safe and stay safe out there. So that's just definitely my take here, and I'm rambling at the end here. So next episode, hopefully we'll get back to game recaps, and because there will at least be one more episode. Very worst case scenario would be a postpartum on the season, but I'm not ready to call the season over yet, because it was going and definitely had a lot of twists and turns. And that's the beauty of making these game recaps, is looking back at everything. And it definitely has been an interesting and unexpected 40th anniversary season, with especially what happened in November there, after the Grey Cup as well, and before the Grey Cup. That's where I associate that time of the year with. And we're still hanging in there. I still think this team is good enough to make the playoffs, and if they can clean up a few things And let's just say if we play the Edmonton Oilers in the first round, if you can contain their offense, I definitely would like Calgary in the best of 7 against Edmonton. And well, guaranteed that series will go to 7 games. Let's keep it real here. It's going to go 7 games, and it'll be a classic. And I've waited 29 years for it, and I want it again. I'm sure the people up the road, they also want to draw us in the first round and face each other. But I just want hockey back and want my sports back. But it is what it is. So as I'll say, go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video here.